Hey, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, I am so excited. It is another episode of the #SpeakEasy Podcast with your host, Altovise, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. Ladies, you guys know that we've been going and celebrating women for National Women's Month. And I just want to go on record with saying, showing up online and being able to be work up top and party down below is a thing. So with that being said, I'm super excited about my guest today. Hello, Shelley, how are you?
Oh, so glad to be here. Thank you so much. It's life on Zoom. What you say, how you say it, what you look like in the box, that's your new business card.
That's your new business card. I love you saying that. So tell the studio audience a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to dive into this topic. This is going to be a fun one for me because I spend the majority of my time on Zoom.
Okay. I am Shelley Golden. I'm a personal branding image consultant, and I have been working with men and women for my entire adult life in 3 cities on 2 continents. I lived in Europe and the Middle East for 15 years. I'm a costume historian. I've designed and made costumes for theater, tailor, seamstress, and certified color consultant. So it's for me, it's like I call it like color, shape, and style. So I just took that from in person to helping you do it online. What color, what shapes, how to put it together so that people will notice you. And that's what I'm doing.
I love that. It's funny. I just had a conversation recently about sewing because I said my mother, she could sew. She actually did her own wedding dress and her whole wedding party. Wow. My father could sew, and I can just barely sew on a button.
Generation, there you go. That's it.
But my youngest daughter can sew, and I'm like, oh, well, somebody got it. So, I guess it's good.
Did your mother teach her?
No, she didn't. Okay. Which is even funnier. So I'm like, yeah, it just went way over me. But I'm excited because in this new space of being online, and I wrote it down as branding in the box. And we often think about branding as your logo, your brand colors and flyers and graphics. And branding has taken on a whole new world when it comes to showing up on all of these screens. So with thinking about that, first and foremost, what should be the first thing that we think about when it comes to this whole box that we're showing up on, for some of us daily?
Yeah, I'm sitting here on a regular basis. So the first thing that you want to think about is, because it's the first thing everybody notices, is the light. You really have to have good lighting, which really means for most people, you need to get additional lighting. Whatever light is coming in your room is just not working. It's just not good enough. If you've got a dark day, like I've got a dark day today, and so you need additional lighting. But the trick is what type of light, where to put it, how to position it, so you don't have like circles in your eyes, so that you don't look washed out, you don't look blue, you don't look yellow. So I have all kinds of tips for that, which I don't know, we can talk about now or later. But that's really what's important, is that you also are lit evenly left and right. Because if you have a shadow on half of your face and only half your face is lit, it's distracting. If you have circles in your eyes or reflections in your glasses, it's distracting. So the trick is get the lighting even with no distractions, so that people can actually look at your eyes and pay attention to you and what you're saying.
I love that, because for me, lighting in my home is horrific. no matter where I am. You're either dealing with that whole cloud. So you got sun, then no sun, then sun, then it's horrific. So tapping in and getting a ring light was really important for me. And I tried to be, I tried to ease my way into it. Oh, I can just get like a little small little ring light. Yeah, that didn't, it didn't help.
The little ones, that's good if you're in a dark room and you need a little bit of extra light. That's about it.
Exactly. But for doing video, it just did not, it didn't work for me. So I definitely want you to share some tips on that. I had to find things out on my own the hard way. So please help.
Right. So for lighting, so you don't wear glasses, at least when you're interviewing, you don't wear glasses. Do you wear glasses regularly when you're working?
I do wear them regularly, but because of the whole ring light situation, I don't wear them when I'm recording.
Right. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to get one of these big ring lights. But what happens is, like, if you get a 10-inch, it's really too big if you're going to be sitting right in front of it. So I usually advise, especially if you wear glasses, you want to have smaller lights left and right. If you place them at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, then what happens is they actually shine on the left side of your face, the right side of your face, even though I just got that wrong, left side, right side, and not in your eyes. So by putting them left and right, also what you want to do is you want to put them, if you have eye level, you want to put them close to the top of your head, angled downward toward your face, because then it actually smooths your skin out and you don't get the the shine. It just softens your skin. So my super uber trick for when I'm working with my clients, when I am doing a Zoom makeover with my clients, is I always suggest fuchsia and yellow Post-its. It's the cheapest, easiest little hack. If you put them over your lights, I'm a color consultant. So when you mix fuchsia and this bolder yellow, you get kind of a peachy color. And it doesn't matter whether you're dark skinned or light skinned, it's the right color balance to counterbalance the blue light coming from your computer. And also the ring light. So just even as an example, I have two lights on my right. If I move away the fuchsia and yellow Post-its that I have over, that's what you get. So I look a little bit blue. So by putting a yellow light paper down, another yellow, a fuchsia, and the light diffuses through it, it actually creates more of a natural skin tone. Super easy, cheap hack.
Guys, I hope y'all wrote that down. Pause the episode. Go back and write that down. Like, don't leave this episode without writing that down. That is so amazing. When I tell you, the lighting situation has always been drama-filled, trying to figure out what to do, where to sit. Do I want to do it in my office because my office doesn't have any windows? Do I want to do it in the living room because I like the background of our paintings on the wall? Like, just trying to figure all of these things out. And every ring light says it's the best ring light, right?
Of course. But it's the best ring light for what?
Exactly.
For who? And what's the distance that you should be from that ring light? That's the big issue. So they've just come out with a lot of 6-inch ring lights, which is a great size for zooming. 10-inch, I think, is really a little bit too big, too bright. Everybody that I work with that has a 10-inch, it's just too much light because they have it so close to them. It's great for lighting up a room, but it's too close. So the 6-inch ring lights are really great. Sometimes you can just get 2 6-inch ring lights, put it on either side, and you're good to go.
Awesome. I love it. So now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Our backgrounds.
Yeah.
Because my, oh my, I have been in a Zoom, and yes, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, it has forever scarred me. But I've been in a Zoom where someone was walking naked through somebody's background. I've been in a Zoom where people have tried to use the digital black backgrounds, the like filters, and man, oh man, they have pieces of their faces missing. It looks like we're in some type of warped time zone. And so with thinking about all of that and how we show up, what's two key things that you would tell them when it comes to the background? And even I would even, go as far as to say the background noise, because people are paying attention to what's going on behind you. So even if you don't think they are, they are.
All right, so that's a lot of different questions. So I'll just try to be like, put it all into one answer and be pretty concise about it. It's actually there's two major questions: a real background versus a virtual background. Two completely different questions, two different answers. So real background, let's start there. So a real background, you really want it to be neat and clean and organized. And you want the perspective to look natural. You don't want lights coming in from windows behind you. That's one of the big things you really need to be careful of, is that you don't have a window behind you, because the camera picks up whatever is white and light first and adjusts its lighting accordingly. So be careful of that. Plants are great to have in your Zoom box because it's calming. It also sets a perspective. Like if you were sitting next to a tree, you have the perspective. So by having a plant, it has to be the right shape, the right style, the right place, but it calms us down. And like, I see that you have a plant on that top shelf. Like, even if you move it over, it would be better if it were just over your right shoulder where the frame is on the lower shelf. No, on the lower shelf, on the other side of the frame, in front of the frame. And yeah, so now, like, adjust the framing, the little things back there. But by having a little plant, it might not be the ideal plant, but it's nice. It's like, oh, it's welcome to my home. That's what a plant says, welcome to my home. So that's kind of a quickie on backgrounds. Pick up your mess. You don't want people walking back and forth. Ideally, you don't just want a white wall either. It feels cold, even though, like, you might say, okay, that's the only space I have. But put a plant here. Even if you're putting a plant on top of a chair, on top of some books, just put it. The whole thing doesn't have to show, just a little bit in the corner. It really makes a difference. Virtual backgrounds. A lot of people are really frustrated and tired of virtual backgrounds. Parts of your body are coming in and out. If you do have a virtual background, you need a virtual background. Some people are in their garage or in their home with lots of kids behind them. So there's a couple things you could do. They actually have physical virtual backdrops that you can buy. It's actually some type of scene. But the thing is, you don't want anything that's distracting. You want it banal. You want it plain, but you don't want it white, and you don't want it black. So that's my suggestion. But you might want to get a green screen, and they have these really easy green screens that just kind of pull up like a banner. And the bonus of having that, and the reason you might want to get it if you need a virtual background, it prevents things from disappearing in and out of the visual. Sometimes a solid colored wall will help do the same thing. If you have just a solid white or solid colored wall behind you, that would also help the images going in and out of view. But also, one more thing on virtual backgrounds, they're not, I talk to a lot of people all day long on Zoom, and people appear, it seems like you're less trustworthy. if you have a virtual background. If you have your real background in, it might not be fabulous, but it seems like people will trust you more because it's like you're not hiding anything. And so that's something that you might want to consider as well.
Okay, so Shelley just she dropped several mics. She dropped the whole mic stand, because when we think about, and if you're any of you who are listening to this episode and you're like, I want to know what plant she's talking about, I'll do a video clip. So just go check out my Instagram so that way you can see the video clip of the plants and that we're talking about. Don't judge my plant, you guys. Don't judge my plant. But it's interesting that you said that too, because that was in the corner. That's where I'm going to be putting a tall plant. I'm just trying to figure out which one I want to get for that corner, but definitely something that I had been thinking about to put back in that corner. And you know, I love this, and I want to make sure that the SpeakEasy audience understands this, that one of the reasons why this is such an amazing topic for you to tap into is because of Shelley's experience. When we think about, you know, she's the fourth generation in the clothing and fashion business and having lived in Europe and the Middle East. And when we think about Europe and the Middle East, we think about a lot of pop of color. Even when I think about Asian culture, when I think about Indian culture and things of that nature, I think about so much pops of color. And, you know, we kind of get humdrum. Let's be honest, guys. Listen, I'm not just telling your story, I'm telling my own. We can get stuck in black and white. We can get stuck in black and white. We can go, and some of you can probably look at your dresser drawers or your closet right now and go, get off my toes. I understand. But sometimes having the pop of color really does change things for you. And so, Shelley, I want you to speak to that a little bit, because I literally, within the last 4 years, had to ease into buying more things with color. And it's horrible that I'm saying that as a 40-year-old woman, but I literally had to ease into buying more color. And the ones that pushed me to buy more color was actually my kids.
Oh, wow. How about that? You know, I have to say, I totally get it. I would say 7/8 of my wardrobe is black and white. But the one thing on Zoom that you don't want to wear is black or white. Reason being, so white, if you wear white, as I said, the camera picks up white and light first. So it's going to be the first thing that the camera sees. It's going to be the first thing people see. So if you're wearing white, they're not going to look at your face. You want them to look at your eyes, not your chest or your torso. So you don't want to wear white for that reason. If you wear black, you actually recede, you look smaller, and people won't be able to really see your torso and read your nonverbal communication. And that is what we're missing. And that's what we need on Zoom. Because what I try to do is I try to make it feel like you and I are just sitting on the other side of the table from each other. And if we were doing that, we'd be moving our hands, our torso. You could read we could read each other's nonverbal communication. And we miss that on Zoom. So by wearing black, you kind of would disappear, unless, of course, you're against a white or light solid colored wall. I mean, that's, that would be the only exception, because then you're contrasting. So the reason you want to wear a bright color, so getting back now, we got away from black and white, but the reason you want to wear a bright color is because what you want to do when you're on Zoom is you want your face and your torso, whatever's showing, to be in the foreground of your, let's call it, painting. Think of, your Zoom box as a painting. So you want to be in the foreground so people will see you. They'll see your face, your eyes, your torso, your nonverbal communication. And you will stand out separately from your background. And that's the trick. And that's why it's great to wear that pop of color when you're on Zoom. So people will look at you as opposed to blending in. Also, when you're on Zoom or Teams or WebEx or whatever platform or television that you are on, by wearing a solid color, it's easier on somebody's eyes. If you're wearing a pattern, unless it's a tiny, tiny pattern, if you're wearing a medium to large pattern, it's distracting. There's already enough going on. If you're wearing that solid color, you act as a color block in the center third of your Zoom box, and people are forced to look at you. And so that's why you want to wear color, and you want to wear a different color from whatever is behind you.
Yes. And so guys, yeah. So that transition happened for me over time. So it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to throw everything out at once or anything like that. Do one piece at a time. And it started, I think for a lot of people, it starts with getting a red dress. I don't know why that is.
Well, the funny thing is, during Zoom, since I have so much black and white, I've been wearing like the same 6 or 7 things for the last year. It seems like, this is my work Zoom uniform. When I don't have anything going on, I'm like, oh, yay. I went to some friends last night and I wore black, and she's like, oh, you look so like, metro. And I'm like, yeah, I can wear black. No, you don't. Yeah. So, it's like, oh, I get like out of the cage.
Right? Oh, I can do anything I want. Ooh.
So anyhow, that is where we are. If you want people to pay attention to you and what you're saying, you need them to be able to see you, and everything in your Zoom box needs to be aligned. The lighting, the background, what color you wear, how you sound. And also I have what I call Zoom specific makeup techniques for women and men who wear makeup. So elaborate for a quickie, yes?
You sure can. Oh, I know the SpeakEasy listeners are going to be like, she better not stop this interview.
Okay, I knew you'd want to hear about this. So very quickly, so I look at your face like a bullseye. A bullseye has an outer ring, an inner ring, and you're like always aiming for that inner ring. So that inner ring is basically between your eyes and your mouth. That's what you want people to look at. You want them to look at your eyes so they can read your eyes. They can see you. They can feel the engagement. They can trust you. So you don't necessarily need your eyes, because chances are they won't see your eyes that well, but they will see your eyebrows or the top of your glasses. So if you have glasses and you have a darker rim on the top or a lighter rim, whichever color works against your skin tone, you want to have that as your top ring. So for women who have blonde eyebrows or silver or gray eyebrows, you might want to pencil them in to be a little bit darker to give somebody a focal point, like a top of the bullseye. You also want to put a little bit of color on your lips. Reason being, if your lips are a little bit of a different color, not necessarily darker, because whatever is dark will look even darker on Zoom. So brighter, lighter, redder, per se. People will be able to follow your lips and read your words. And it'll stand out against your teeth as a different color from the rest of your skin. So I always suggest putting a little bit of lipstick on so people can watch your mouth. It gives them, again, a bullseye of where to look at your mouth. Additionally, I've got 2 other places. So the eye makeup, chances are people don't really see your eye makeup. Reality, that's kind of what I've noticed. But so there are people like me who have no cheekbones. So I have like a tip that goes, it's with blush and contour, and it doesn't matter what color it is, because again, the camera doesn't pick it up. The camera picks up light and dark contrast. So what I do is I actually make with my contour brush, blush, brush, all mixed together. I literally kind of draw almost like a little semicircle around what it is, my cheekbone. So that remains lighter colored, and I darken around it. So it looks like I've got this cheekbone. And I also draw a whole line right on my chin, all the way around, and I pull it down under my chin. And what that does, it creates a shadow so you don't have the uni-neck look. Because that's one of the things that we have on Zoom, is it you don't see the definition between the front of your face, under your chin, and your neck. So by putting a little bit of darker color, it acts as a shadow. So for darker skinned women, it's a little bit the opposite. You don't want to darken, you want to put something you want to put blush with a little bit of shimmer in it. So it depends how dark skinned you are, but it's the contrast of light and dark. So I'm light skinned, I put dark. If you're dark skinned, you want to put something a little bit lighter, which means shimmer, because the camera picks up the shimmer as white speckles. And same for dark skinned women, you might want to put a little bit of frost have frost in your lipstick, but that doesn't work for light-skinned women.
Okay, that was a whole masterclass right there, guys.
Absolutely.
That was a whole masterclass, because when we think about showing up on Zoom, I think people have kind of gotten into a space of like, oh my goodness, am I doing this right? We recently just had the lawyer, and I felt so bad for him, who had the cat filter and it was stuck and he didn't know how to take it off. So we don't want to show up as the cat filter, guys, but we have to understand that the most valuable asset to your business is you. And so when you show up, you want to make sure that you're showing up in a capacity that's saying, I'm representing whatever business that is. I'm representing whatever that topic is that I'm talking about. And so I love what Shelley just shared, because it allows us to be able to represent in the best way possible. So we're not just showing up a little bit, but we're showing up to own the space that we're in.
Right.
Absolutely love it. Oh my goodness. SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, this has been an amazing episode. I know we went a little longer than what we normally do, but I'm glad that we did, because you guys got some great tips and resources for you to be able to execute at a high level when it comes to doing these online meetups, meetings, everything and anything we're doing, right? With that being said, Shelley, let them know how they can reach out to you for more information, because I know some of them heard you say that you had some freebies, and also where they can find you at online.
Okay, awesome. So if you go to my website, it's ShelleyGoldenStyle.com, and it's Shelley with an EY, so ShelleyGoldenStyle.com. You can find me there, and if you go to my website, there will be a quick and easy gift that you can download. It's 12 easy tips to up-level your background and your lighting. And so there's tips with videos and images, so to give you kind of a step-by-step to how to up-level your background and your lighting. And I would love to talk with you if you have any questions.
Great. I'm loving it. Oh my goodness, guys, make sure that you go back, listen in, tap in, because guess what? We want to know that if this episode resonated with you, come join the conversation, bit.ly/World Voice Community. Let us know how this episode resonated with you, either there, or let us know by leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting platform, so that way we can make sure that we're delivering what it is that you need in this season. With that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you, because there would be no SpeakEasy Podcast without the listeners. And this is your host, Altovise, your voice manager. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.